And at 10, Reluctant Tape Girl. The concept of glitch trap invading minds has been around since before the announcement of Security Breach, and more so the idea that Tape Girl was one of his first victims of this glitch trap brain virus. Jeremy would have been the first one, however he cut his own face off using a guillotine paper cutter in an attempt to get glitch trap out of his head, so Tape Girl I guess would be the first surviving victim, as long as she's still alive. Not only that, but could Tape Girl have been infected and really be Vanny? It's a question that we've all had on our minds, and honestly we don't know if it's the case. It would be nice since it would add this sense of connection to the new killer since we worked with them in Help Wanted, but it's unlikely just based on the voice actor, since Vanny and Tape Girl from my understanding are voiced by two different people. And while this isn't exactly a deal breaker, it's definitely something we should take into consideration. On the contrary, we could say that the new voice actor is because it's glitch trap talking through Vanny, as evidenced by her at some points glitching while speaking, as we hear in the Security Breach trailer. And at 9, Glitching Grave. The FNAF VR DLC, The Curse of Dreadbear, is honestly my favorite game ever. The Corn Maze minigame is both horrifying but awesome, and while I hardly ever lose that game mode, it's fairly common to see the game over screen after the Corn Maze and many other games like The Hallway. However, on this screen, while Dreadbear reaches his hand towards you and Foxy attempts to intimidate you with his hook, you can see a few graves on a small hill. By boundary breaking, we can actually go and see these graves, and if you do, you'll notice something a little odd. A total of 8 graves stand in a circle with one in the middle. Well, like total as in like in total with the one in the middle it's 8 graves. 6 of the outer graves obviously represent the original 6 victims, the missing children who go on to inhabit the original 5 animatronics, Susie, Jeremy, Gabriel, Fritz, and Cassidy, as well as the puppet, Charlotte. Yet the final grave may remain a mystery. But with some educated guessing, we can assume that this additional 7th grave is Jeremy that Glitch Trap took by driving him to chop off his face. The greatest clue, however, is the grave in the middle, that is purple and black and glitching. This is obviously representing William, who is actually dead after the events of the Man in Room 1280, and the final nail in the coffin is the bunny ear texture running across this grave, because, you know, he dresses like a bunny. Hashtag William Afton is a furry. It's a thing. It's canon now. And it ain't meant to lose. Were we meant to lose FNAF VR? Was it rigged against us from the beginning? Is the only way to truly win to not play at all, or by removing the headset before it's too late? Well, based on some Reddit theorists, yes indeed. The main game of FNAF VR is actually kind of hidden, and our main objective is to collect 16 tapes that slowly give us more and more info about what's truly going on behind the scenes. But no matter what tapes we find in what mini games, they always unlock in the same order. 1 to 16, always. No skipping, no finding 16 first, and that's intentional in the game we play, since tape 15 tells us not to find all 16, and if we found that one first, then why would we continue? So the game itself sets us up to be kinda screwed. But did it prevent us from winning? Since even if you follow Tape Girl's instructions on tape 16, you end up locked in a room, presumably in your own mind, while Glitch Trap takes over, and if we don't do the ritual properly, we get merged with him anyway. So if anything, we actually are in more control if we don't follow her instructions. But does that mean we win, or were we always meant to lose? And at 7, Bunny Call. The Fazbear Frights book Bunny Call has some shocking implications for the FNAF series, and it relates most to FNAF VR's story when talking about the games. Since in the Man in Room 1280, William requests to be taken to a Fazbear Entertainment storehouse, where he promptly explodes. This would be weird on its own, but then the man who brought him there notices bloody footprints leading towards a shelf. On that shelf is presumably circuit boards, which end up being the same circuit boards scanned to help make the AI in Help Wanted. But this also introduces a virus, an entity that was never supposed to be in the game. That entity, as we learn, is Glitch Trap. But how did this work out so well? How did William's agony or soul end up becoming sentient code in a video game? Even if you possess a hard drive, that doesn't mean you end up becoming the files on that hard drive, right? I guess we don't really know how possession works in the FNAF universe, so it's impossible to say, but how did William's circuit board end up being scanned? Or was this the plan from the beginning? And at 6, Fursuit. Glitch Trap is very clearly a callback to William using the spring bodysuit, but why is he not using that same suit, or at least a more mechanical one, in the game? It's simple. Do you remember what happened to him? He got spring locked. It would have killed him if not for a mischievous little spirit who refused to let go. So why, if he could choose his own form, would he manifest in the suit that caused him agonizing pain for over 30 years? Exactly. The question here is, was this William's first Bonnie suit? It has the stitch marks that a normal fabric suit would have, especially from back then, and it clearly has a Chuck E. Cheese employee that's inside kind of vibe, so it definitely could be, but we know thanks to fast facts and later information that some of the first animatronics that William ever made were the Funtime robots that we see in Sister Location. And these animatronics weren't even used until Circus Babies was open after Freddy's announced that it would be closing. So that would mean that the Spring Bonnie suit was in full working condition either before those or shortly after. And if this wasn't the first suit, why would he choose to look like this and stand out in a game that is all about looking back at the past? Halfway through in at number 5, Agony Boom. Like I suggested in number 7, I believe that this entire thing was planned. Maybe not from the beginning, but at least from when William discovered how remnant or I guess possession works. Because how does a man who has been possessed by a kid for years, who was living off of life support somehow, who survived multiple fires and a spring locking, end up randomly exploding when within proximity to something that he needed to continue, I guess, at least in a way, living? Since technically, according to the dictionary definition of alive, William is not alive. But the thing that bothered me about this is that he exploded. Like, how did he just randomly explode? Just spontaneous combustion? Sure, I can get that. You catch on fire, whatever. But spontaneous combustion? No, I don't think it was random. I think that he planned it. That he had a bomb planted inside of him before he was even spring locked. Too many things worked out for him in this sense. Like, why would scanning circuit boards help improve or even make AI for animatronics in a video game? That doesn't make sense. How is it that they scanned the exact board that William had attached himself to? And like, how did any of this work out for him? Because he had planned it out. He put a bomb inside him so that when he could finally die, he would die in agony, allowing his spirit to grab hold of something. He asked to be brought to that warehouse since he knew he had already set in motion the events that would lead to his next incarnation. He planned it all from the beginning. Plus, it explains how he just, randomly exploded. Because that's still a thing. In it for the cult. While we were fairly certain that William has a hold on Tape Girl, we know he has a hold on Vanny. But is there anyone else that William is controlling? Map had suggested it even before Security Breach was announced, since the FNAF VR DLC was released in fact. The idea that Glitchtrap is controlling multiple individuals at once. Of course, this would be proven if Tape Girl and Vanessa are two different people, but since we have no frame of reference as to what Tape Girl looks like, we can't be certain. We know how he got a hold of her, but is she still alive, or did William get rid of that loose end and grab onto someone else? Did we play as Vanny? Like, was Vanny the game tester that we were playing as in Help Wanted that gets gotten by Glitchtrap at the end of the game? We don't know. So far we know that he controls one individual, but he was still appearing in Help Wanted. However, when we beat the game and merge with him and get locked in our own mind, the actual Glitchtrap that we see standing behind us in the main lobby goes away, and we're left with a plushie. So maybe he isn't powerful enough to manifest in multiple places, and when he's controlling someone he isn't anywhere else. It's an interesting concept, but what do you think? Is Glitchtrap able to control multiple people at once, or just one at a time? Let me know down below. I think based on the plushie, I think that he can only control one person. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, Princess Quest. Princess Quest is a minigame present on the mobile ports of FNAF VR. They added this minigame as a way to make up for Glitchtrap's absence due to size constraints, cause, FNAF VR was never meant to be on a phone. However, this game features quite a similar theme to the main version that multiple people pointed out. You play as a girl running through a castle lighting braziers, 16 of them to be exact, and when you light the 16th, a horrific abomination appears. This has been discovered to be Glitchtrap still present in the game, since audio from that moment when you speed it up and reverse it says, "I always come back, let me out." And text that is read in code says that signature line of "I always come back." However, I think this can reveal more to us than we thought. You see, we've been questioning if we played as Vanny in FNAF VR or if Tape Girl was Vanny, and I think that this game, that Princess Quest, actually tells us. If this game is meant to represent the whole of Help Wanted, with the 16 braziers representing the 16 tapes and Glitchtrap appearing after you find the 16th, or I guess light the 16th, our character in Princess Quest is in fact female. It's Princess Quest after all. So by proxy, our character in FNAF VR would also be female. So does that settle it? Are we actually Vanny? Probably. Penultimately, and at number 2, intended. Tape Girl tells us that Glitch Trap isn't an intentional part of the game, but to me that's a load of BS. Glitch Trap is an odd character, an accidental addition to FNAF VR that somehow ends up interacting with the environment and altering aspects of the game. Like, what? I've always questioned why Glitch Trap is able to move around the curtain and even seemingly put us in the Freddy suit at the end of the game. Like, sure, he's technically a spirit, but he's still game code and would have to obey the laws of such. Right? So how is he able to move things like the curtain? Like when we're in the pizza party minigame in the final room, he pulls the curtain aside and then gestures for us to come in. How does he do that? When I literally can't move anything unless it's supposed to be interactable. I can't move that curtain. Simple. He wasn't an accident. If he was a glitch, unintentional, how would this ending make sense? Who would have put us in the Freddy suit? We wouldn't crawl in there ourselves after all. Was there another character there? Did Glitch Trap replace them? No, he didn't. He was actually meant to be there, since you can see this ending without collecting all 16 tapes. And if you don't collect all 16 tapes, he wouldn't be reassembled yet. He wouldn't be able to interact with you. Glitch Trap was an intentional feature of this game, which makes me think, who else does William have under his palm? Yes, I said palm. Was it intentional? No. Did I say it? Am I sticking by it? Yes. Finally, in at number 1, Resurrection. We don't know much about the upcoming FNAF game Security Breach. So far, we know that there are at least 5 animatronics and a whole pizzaplex for us to explore, and the game will have a day and night cycle. But then Afton will somehow be involved thanks to, Vanny, another goddamn rabbit killer. However, we also think that Afton is going to come back yet again, since in the gameplay trailer released for the game by PlayStation, at the very end we see a seemingly metallic arm reach out from behind some boxes. Some believe that this is the Stitch Wraith, others believe that this is William. I think it's William, since we can see the reflection of purple light coming off the arm. And at this point, I can't even wear a purple shirt without you guys calling me the purple guy. So if there's purple light anywhere in anything FNAF, it's gonna be William, alright? Also, one Twitter user going by the name @officialz3RoyT mentioned me, @centimeter_Monroe, and showed me that the hand that comes out covered in purple light looks an awful lot like Nightmare Freddy's arm. Which, if this is the case, opens up a whole new can of worms that I don't want to have to deal with. Because if that is the case, Nightmare animatronics never had a physical form. So if he does come out with the freaking Nightmare animatronic endoskeleton, I'm gonna be mad. Okay, that's all. I'm gonna be pissed. This combined with the fact that he appears to be trying to escape in this game indicates that he will definitely be successful. I mean, you can't have a new killer for too long. We're gonna miss William. I mean, I'm not. I'm certainly not, but hey. That's what happens. If William comes back again, I swear to God. Let's start off with some explanations. Who is Vanny? Vanny is the apparent primary antagonist of the next FNAF game Security Breach, which at the time of filming doesn't have a release date. Vanny, also known as the Reluctant Follower, was grabbed a hold of by Glitch Trap in some form and has now 2 consciousnesses in her head. Hers that googles the migration pattern of bees, and William's that googles how far can a human be tortured before passing out and how to induce compliance in human subjects, as we learned from FNAF AR emails, which seems to indicate that Vanny isn't entirely under his control. However, we don't know where she came from, only that she's most likely both Vanny and the security guard Vanessa. We also know that Vanny, when William is making her speak, has glitchy vocal cords somehow, and will fumble words like we see in the Security Breach trailers, particularly when she says it was only a glitch. So it's safe to say that when she is killing, or at least being aggressive or violent, she isn't in control of her body, and rather it's William. This is the second closest we actually get to interacting with William directly, since the closest we got was FNAF 3, since, he was alive inside Springtrap, but now he's alive inside Vanny. Alive. We had a whole separate video on how he's not technically alive. Go check that out. Now, this all seems well and good, but how would we be Vanny? After all, there is no evidence to suggest it, right? Well, not necessarily. Technically, if you want to use that argument, we also have no evidence that we aren't Vanny. At first, I thought we were Gabriel, someone who shares a name with the child who goes on to possess Freddy, much like the Jeremy we hear about from Tape Girl. But now I am absolutely certain that we play as a woman named Vanessa who takes over playtesting after Tape Girl's company sends the game to another company, as we hear Tape Girl describe in her recordings. This must be the company that we work for just because it makes sense. As to who we are, that's where the theory theorizing comes in. There isn't much to go on in the main game since, well, most of it revolves around finding Glitch Trap, but at the end when we successfully find all 16 tapes, we do end up merging with Glitch Trap, which does line up with what we think happened to Vanessa, so there's one point right there. There's also all the circumstantial evidence that supports this hypothesis, like Vanessa as we know her being a security guard just like we play as in the VR game most of the time. The similarities between her story and the story we know about our character, the knowledge that we are not Tape Girl and neither is Vanny since she's working at a company handling the FNAF AR animatronics, etc. Where we can really find evidence to support this, and what made me solidly believe this theory, is in the mobile port of FNAF VR, of all places. Because due to size constraints we were reduced to some of the mini-games from VR, with the addition of a secret one, only accessible via clicking or interacting with objects with glitching textures, but clearly intentional glitches. Tapping on these a lot and zooming in will eventually cause you to be brought back to the main home screen, and a monitor next to the main system will have a secret minigame called Princess Quest. I talked about this in a recent video, however I wanted to go more in depth here. Princess Quest is a special minigame from Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted exclusive to mobile ports. The minigame can be accessed from the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience main hub room, and occasionally a grid pattern will appear on objects at the prize counter. To unlock Princess Quest, the player must zoom in on one of these glitching objects. Afterwards, the screen will fade to black and fade back in to the level select with everything unlocked, along with Princess Quest shown on the right monitor, the little tiny one. The player starts out in a room with a door that they cannot open, and they have to light all 4 torches in the next room to make the actual door open in the first room. This is just to show you how to play the game basically. The player will then end up in a room full of floating glitch trap heads that will attack them. After lighting the torches in that room, you can now go into the next room and get the key. And glitch trap blockers will block the door and attack the player if they get too close. Wonderful. This game basically serves as a way to get Glitch Trap into the game because, you know, they couldn't have him because it's a freaking mobile port. And throughout the entire minigame, only 16 torches are found that can be lit up. And this is possibly, but most definitely, a metaphor to the 16 tapes found in the original version of Help Wanted, showing how we as the player collected the tapes and then inadvertently summoned Glitch Trap in his physical form. And then, you know, he kind of melted our brains. If this is indeed the case, then that single minigame serves as an overview for the entirety of FNAF VR. Since after lighting the 16th, well, the games called them torches, but they're really braziers, but after lighting the 16th one, a Glitch Trap sprite will appear, saying his signature line of "I always come back" in coded text at the bottom, as well as saying "I always come back, let me out" if you take the sound that plays during that scene, double the speed, and reverse it, which just serves as confirmation that Glitch Trap is actually this character and just not some ripoff thrown in for fan service. But this is where the theory really comes through. If this Princess Quest minigame serves as an overview for all of FNAF VR, then that's confirmation right there that our player character in FNAF VR is female, since that's who we play as in this game, going around lighting torches or collecting cassette tapes and eventually accidentally reassembling Glitch Trap. With our character being female, and obviously not Tape Girl, we don't have many options left. We must be Vanny. However, this brings me to my next point. What if Glitch Trap is possessing multiple people and not just us? Couldn't Vanny just be somewhere else and we're another unlucky victim? Well, this could be true, but I don't think it is. I don't think Glitch Trap can possess multiple people at once, and I think that Help Wanted has been telling us this from the get-go and we never noticed. After the final showdown, if you successfully follow Tape Girl's instructions, you lock yourself in your own mind. The Glitch Trap manifestation that appears turns into a green rabbit plush that spawns on the ground where he used to stand. This single moment indicates to us that we are now actually possessed. If we don't follow the instructions though, we end up merging with him on stage, but that's just simply in the game. That isn't in the real world. Yet if you're focused on trying to do the complicated process properly to actually fend him off, your mind is vulnerable. You aren't fighting off Glitch Trap, and instead you're trying to press things in the right order, which basically gives Glitch Trap an access tunnel into your psyche, thus being able to shut you away. Obviously this doesn't work forever, since Vanny seems to have no recollection of what Glitch Trap does, but nonetheless the answer was right in front of us the whole time. Once Glitch Trap actually gets into our mind, we can see that he can no longer manifest in the game and is replaced by something so that the game doesn't break, because code. Glitch Trap cannot be in two places at once, therefore he cannot possess multiple people at once, meaning that the one he does possess, who ends up being us at the end of Help Wanted, must be Vanny, just based on, just by default. There's nobody else that it could be. It's literally impossible. It's just how it is what it is. That's the way the news goes. Into 10 dreadful dancing. The end of the main game of FNAF VR has us getting stuffed into the Freddy animatronic on stage by Glitch Trap and singing a song while he dances in the dining area where we make all of our decisions, where we choose what games we want, etc. However, the question is, why is he dancing? At this point, this man has done nothing to escape the game, yet he's still trapped in it, and he isn't really able to get out as of yet, so why is this happening? Is it because he's killing again, or was just able to stuff someone in a suit again, which seems to be his kind of kink? Which I'm definitely going to be kink shaming that, because while you can be into whatever you're into, okay, I think that saying reaches its limit when you're actually harming other people, just saying. However, his dancing is very weird and became a meme in and of itself, but there still doesn't really seem to be a solid purpose behind it. And at 9, Curse of Dreadful dancing. The same remains true in the Curse of Dreadbear DLC for Help Wanted, whereby turning the game into blacklight mode, which was only added for this Easter egg given that the DLC has no hard mode levels, turn around and look at the car for around 10 to 15 seconds, which some people believe is a reference to the Midnight Motorist minigame, since after looking at the car you can turn around and see Glitch Trap dancing by a house on a hill similar to how we see FNAF 4's house. He isn't on the same hill, but it seems to indicate that there's a connection between him, a car, and a house. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because it's what we were all thinking was going on in Midnight Motorist in FNAF 6. More on that in a minute. But even when you do this Easter egg, he never gets any closer. He just stays dancing on that hill, which is even more confusing because, why? The only other time we've seen him dance like that was when he stuffed us in the main game, so why is he dancing like it again? And this can happen whether he's possessed you or not, which makes me think that this may not be the Glitch Trap we know after all. And at 8, Midnight Motorist. As I said, we seem to have confirmation that Glitch Trap, aka William Afton, was the one in the Midnight Motorist car based on that Easter egg, right? Well, what if I told you that there was another explanation? That would also explain the dancing. Yeah, you heard that right. All of this may actually be indicating something entirely different from Midnight Motorist. You see, when Glitch Trap was introduced, we thought that he might have been the animatronic, or I guess the person, who came to get Mustard Man's son out of his room since there was footprints with 3 toes. However, most animatronics have 3 toes, so that wasn't much to go on. But now we have some. Since looking at a car and then a house is very clearly meant to be a Midnight Motorist reference, Glitch Trap is on a hill separate to the house, as if he isn't connected directly. And, well, he's dancing. And the only other time we've seen him dance is when he had just killed us at the end of the Pizza Party minigame. So, was the Midnight Motorist minigame just William's second victim, hence the dancing on the hill? Did he take Mustard Man's son after killing Charlotte? Let me know your thoughts down below. And at 7, Corrupted Code. I've said multiple times that if Glitch Trap was actually never meant to be in the game, that he wouldn't be able to do the things he does, like moving curtains and whatnot. However, there is another possibility that is just as viable. Did William take control of Glitch Trap? You see, there are technically 2 versions of Glitch Trap present within the game. The one in a full suit that is solid that we see when we're in the Pizza Party minigame and then when he attacks us after collecting all 16 tapes. But the thing is, even if you don't collect a single tape and play through the whole game, that Pizza Party minigame Glitch Trap will still be there fully formed. However, if you collect most of the tapes and don't fully reassemble Glitch Trap, the form you see to the right of you is like a hologram, like how we would assume a sentient code ghost would look like, I guess. So what if instead of creating the Glitch Trap character from scratch, William simply corrupted the character with himself, or even made a copy of the character that Tape Girl then had to stow away using the tapes? I don't know how many people are talking about this, but it seems like there's something there. And at 6, Steelwool Studios. Could the situation of Glitch Trap, or rather I guess FNAF VR in general, just be a representation of Steelwool Studios? I mean, the story that we're told in Help Wanted of an indie game developer making games about tragedies that took situations that happened in a children's pizzeria that ruined their reputation seems to be what happened in real life, with Scott making the FNAF games, potentially based on a string of real life killings, and bringing down the Chuck E. Cheese business, at least from what we can assume, considering how they really went out of business in some states because of COVID. However, there were some false false articles about 5 children going missing and night guards dying on the job that went viral on Twitter for a hot minute that resulted in plenty of people believing them to be true. Plus, a lot of fans from what I'm seeing in the comments would rather go to a Freddy Fazbear's instead of Chuck E. Cheese, even though Chuck E. Cheese is real. Even so much as refusing to go to Chuck E. Cheese because it isn't FNAF. So that leaves the question, is this game meant to represent real life? And if so, who does Glitchtrap represent? The killer that Afton is based on? The CEO of Steelable who was pushing for Security Breach to be bigger, thus resulting in delays? Or is he us? Halfway through it in number 5, Ideal Form. With Glitchtrap being explained to us as a manifestation that was created after scanning hard drives, we can reasonably assume that William created this body, even if other possibilities are more likely. But if he did make this body, does that mean that it's his ideal form? Not having to worry about spring locks since that didn't end too well the last time, nobody knowing who he truly is, but still in that classic golden Bonnie suit. Well, if this is the case, what does he look like under the suit? Is he still burnt, or is he healed? When pyromaniacs or other people who have been driven mad by fire are showcased in movies, TV, or documentaries, they always say that the fire cleansed them or showed them their true path somehow, and that their burns are their form of baptism. But does William feel the same? I mean, this guy survived 2 fires at least and was still kicking after being taken off life support, so I mean he has to be at least a little superstitious about that, right? Or, I guess, just suspicious. Either way, I just want to know if this is what his ideal form is, and if it is, how am I supposed to compete with these unrealistic male body standards? And at 4, rituals. This comes from my personal collection of theories that I haven't really talked about because they have since been proven, or basically proven wrong. We now know that William was trying to escape the game through possessing someone. However, when the game originally came out, I thought something different. That William was in fact trying to escape by killing one person, sharing a name with each of his original 5 or 6 victims. Susie, Jeremy, Fritz, Gabriel, Cassidy, and maybe Charlotte. This started with the introduction of yet another Jeremy, because of course we needed another one. However, this one bit the dust before the game even started, since he cut his own face off after seeing Glitchtrap and presumably getting possessed. And then he gets to Tape Girl, who we don't really have a name for. Then we come to the Pizza Party minigame where we end up getting stuffed into Freddy, who is alone on stage. But where are the other animatronics, you ask? Well, they're in the back room. Chica and Bonnie were there, except they were damaged so they weren't on stage with us. And remember, Glitchtrap has taken 2 people. If you pay attention though, you may remember the name of the kid who possessed Bonnie. Jeremy. And in this game we get another Jeremy. I mean, he cuts his face off, and yet in the Pizza Party minigame we still see Bonnie with, what's that? Oh right, a missing face. This was certainly intentional, but I thought that it meant that we were named Gabriel and that Glitchtrap was about to escape, but that turned out to not be the case. I also thought the Tape Girl could have been named Susie because she was Glitchtrap's other confirmed victim, and Susie, or Chica, was also in the back room with us during the Pizza Party minigame. Yeah. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, the one you didn't mean to kill. I still personally believe that Crying Child is the one you should not have killed. It just makes more sense and explains a lot more. And you know, FNAF VR may be providing us some evidence in that direction. Many fans noted the shocking absence of one of the series' most popular characters, Golden Freddy, not appearing once in the game. Not even in parts and service, which is odd given the amount of maintenance that character would need. But there is an appearance of Crying Child, or at least his VR equivalent, given that his room is there along with the nightmare animatronics which only appeared in his mind. So this proves to us that Golden Freddy and Crying Child are 2 separate entities, and thus Crying Child is not possessing Golden Freddy, as long as you look at it in the right way and are actually not like trying to look for anything or literally anything to counter me. Like when your parent comes into your room to check your cleaning and then starts checking the most ungodly places that you would never think to clean, like inside your TV or under your mattress. Yeah. That's what you're doing by trying to counter that. This separation of characters proves that Crying Child is not inside Golden Freddy, and if that is the case, where did he go when he dies in the hospital with no animatronics around and only his father? Boom, right into Glitchtrap. Okay, well, not Glitchtrap per se, but William, who just so happens to also be Glitchtrap. You know what I mean. Penultimately, and at number 2, single and ready to mingle. Glitchtrap from the looks of things can only possess one individual, which I know goes against Matt Pat, so a load of you are already commenting how stupid I am, but hear me out. I discussed this in my We Are Vanny theory video, so if you want that more in context, go watch that. However, I don't think Glitchtrap can possess multiple people, and I think that Help Wanted has been telling us this from the get-go and we never noticed. During the final showdown, if you actually follow Tape Girl's instructions properly, you end up locking yourself yourself in your own mind. And then that glitch trap manifestation that was to our right just somehow turns into a green rabbit plush that just sits on the ground where he used to stand. This moment indicates that now we're actually possessed. If we don't follow the instructions, we end up merging with him on stage, but yeah, that's on stage in the game. That's why we don't see our character's hands and goggles looking at our station. That isn't in the real world. Yet, if you're focused on trying to do the complicated process of actually like pressing the buttons and flipping the levers, your mind is vulnerable. You aren't fighting off Glitch Trap, and instead you're trying to do things in the right order, which ends up giving Glitch Trap a perfect path into your psyche, thus being able to lock you in your own mind. Once Glitch Trap actually gets to your mind though, we can see that he can no longer actually manifest in the game and is replaced by something so that the game doesn't shatter into a million pieces, because the code would still need to be there. Glitch Trap cannot be in two places at once, therefore he cannot possess multiple people at once. Boom. Finally, in at number 1, Freddy and Friends. The Freddy and Friends on Tour series has 2 episodes now and seems to be released weekly on the Steelwool Studios YouTube channel. However, there's something seemingly wrong with them, as they keep glitching to reveal characters from Security Breach and, most notably, the Stitch Wraith, as well as Moondrop and their Sun Variation. However, what if there is more of a reason for these glitches lore-wise than just some fun teasers that are, in essence, the Back to the Future movies? And I say this because it's the same characters doing the same thing over and over, just with a different setting, and maybe 2 other things that change. But I mean, I still love the Back to the Future movies. But what if Glitch Trap somehow made his way into the show? This wouldn't be anything new. Story taking place outside the games happens quite frequently in this series. Take Baby having a fight with Ennard, for example. That happens between games in the source code for ScottGames.com. So, with William making an effort to make his way into an animatronic body, what if these clips are him working on that? After all, they are glitches, and just because they're coming out before Security Breach doesn't mean they take place before it. Take FNAF 2, which is a prequel for FNAF 1. These things don't have to appear in order. Therefore, these could very well be after we save Vanny or after William no longer has use for her and went back to possessing technology so that he could take over the Stitch Wraith's endoskeleton at the end of Security Breach.